All right, so what we'll get into is we'll move on to another training drill. This is a double tap. Basically, a double tap is really for when you got to engage multiple targets and you want to ensure that that first target is incapacitated before moving on to the second. So we do a double tap. It's not always effective. You got different factors in there with assailants. You got size, you got possible body armor, you got drugs that could be related to an issue. So our mantra as a civilian is fire until the threat ceases to exist. So basically, when they're collapsed on the ground, that's when we stop shooting. Shooting once or even twice and peering over your weapon to see if that actually worked becomes unacceptable, and it's something that may cost you your life. So if you have to draw this weapon, remember, you're getting into the fight. So train that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to actively aim at the 8 center on the top, and we're going to practice a double tap. And what we're going to try to do is keep that as close together. You're going to see it's going to be wide open, and then we're going to pull it in closer and closer and closer and see what we come up with. So you draw your weapon. Pretty decent shots, about 3 inches apart from one another, and frankly, it's an upper thorax shot. It's hit a lot of important stuff. We're not going to have any more problems from that individual. But let's try to see if we can close it up again. Much better, half-inch group. So at that point, I got 2 concentrated bullets on a point of impact. That is an effective way to stop a threat. All right, so now what we want to address is multiple threats. In this case, we're going to use 2. Now there's a lot going into actually engaging one target and switching over to another. It's what we call a bounce theory. When you were a child, there was many times you watched a television show and it had a sing-along song, and you'd have the words crossing beneath, and you'd have a little pong ball bouncing on the words. Well, that's exactly what you're doing with your front sight. When you grab your weapon and present it, at that point you fire your first round. Recoil is going to bring it up a little bit. If you are actually maintaining your sight picture and not flinching, then you're going to watch that front sight as it comes back down. In a situation where it's multiple threats, you want to engage the first one, shoot, it's going to rise, but when you come back down on target, you want to already be on the second. So this is what it's going to look like. We're going to draw our weapon, we're going to pull, we're going to shoot, and then come over and shoot. And that's going to be 2 center mass hits, and that's what we're going for. So we'll start. Pretty effective. Now let's add up a little bit of speed. Throw in a double tap. Now at that point, still center mass, 2 shots on each target. Now that you understand the basic mechanics of engaging multiple threats, what we're going to do is we're going to add a pack timer. Pack timers are made for shooters who are really wanting to record their shot record, and it'll do it down to the millisecond. So we'll clip this on, and we will engage target. When you hear the buzzer, that's when I'm going to go. So pretty effective. Let's try it again. With the time, we had a total time from draw to engagement, 1.52 seconds. So we have our first one, which you can see right there. You'll see also from draw to my first shot was 0.84. That's the longest time you'll see in the whole process. Second shot was 1.04 with a split. A split is the time allotted in between shots. With a split of 2.0, 0.28, and 0.20. So there's consistency. Thankfully there is, because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here instructing you. So let's try that again. Let's see if we can get a little faster. It's pretty fast. They're not going home. 1.38. So basically, our first shot from draw to engagement is 0.81. Now my last time was 0.84. So that's my consistency on draw and firing, is under a second, which is pretty dangerous. Second was 0.16 on my split time. 0.21, 0.20. So indeed, it did improve. Let's try that again. It's a little jittery on that last one. So basically we have 1.31. My draw to fire was 0.68, my fastest time. Split was 2.1, 2.3, 1.9. So you can see the consistency here. That's really about the time frame you're gonna have in an ambush threat situation. So you gotta be prepared for it. Now we're gonna do the Mozambique drill. The Mozambique drill combines the accuracy of a single shot and the effective threat stopping capability of the double tap. So what we're gonna do is 2 shots to the chest, 1 to the head. The reason why we do that is the 2 shots to the chest are designed to relatively at least slow down your assailant to the point where you can get 1 well-aimed shot into the brain pan. Any capacity in which your ammo or your bullet hits your assailant in the head, at least it's going to knock them out. So it's a very effective technique, and there's really no reason not to practice it. So let's show you what it looks like. You'll draw your weapon, 2 shots, and then up in the head. So basically, you've delivered those 2 shots, slowed them down, and terminated the threat by a headshot. We'll do it one more time. So that was sort of interesting. I didn't count my rounds. Because I didn't count my rounds, I was forced into that last moment mag change. But you can see how not only training at the range can be fun like that, but effective in the real world in a life-threatening situation. All right, so here we're shooting from cover, modified shooting bench. Basically, we're gonna do 2 rounds over the top, reload, and then come back for 2 more. You know, it's very prudent to actually train like this, because if you're in a fight that lasts longer than any more than 4 or 5 seconds, chances are this is where you're going to end up, behind cover. So let's show the process. And draw your weapon just like you would normally. Basically finger off the trigger till you're on target, and you don't want to come over the top, all right? Because if you come over the top like this, for you to be able to go down is too difficult. So what you'd want to do is step a little bit behind your cover, create some sort of distance, at least enough distance for your draw. So that way you're more popping up and down like a rabbit. So what we got is draw, reload, index your mag, and there we go, shooting from cover.